At the start of the 20th century, the Russo-Japanese War would break out as the result of both trying to expand their empires. Striking first, Japan would corner and defeat the Russian Far East Fleet in Port Arthur in modern-day China. In response to this resounding defeat, Tsar Nicholas II authorized an unbelievable proposal from his government. 45 ships from the Russian Baltic Fleet would sail 18,000 miles around the world from its bases in Northern Europe to defeat the Japanese Navy and relieve the trapped Russian ships. From the outset of the expedition was doomed to failure, rendering it one of the greatest naval follies in history. My name is Jake Storielli, and this is a little laugh.
Welcome to Little Laughs. My name's Jimmy. This is Jake. It's episode number 101. We just did our special 100th episode. We enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Thank you for coming back. Little Laughs. This one was written by Noah Prince, who helps out, producer, writer on the show. Jake has read the intro. We've heard the intro, but we all went into this, even producer Luke is in the corner. Blind. No idea what we're doing here. No prep, no knowledge. Noah just sent this over, said, do this one. So I'm excited about it. He says we should thank Redditor Bakanagami for detailing this incident in a thread from 4 years ago that he stumbled upon on Reddit. So thanks. So it's a naval backfire, basically?
Yeah, so who gets backfired here, Japan or Russia? Do we think we know?
Sounds like Russia. From the intro, Russia was doomed for failure by the outset of that mission.
Russia's putting in a lot of assets, which makes it seem like they're screwed, or Japan doesn't have a lot of assets, so they're screwed. I don't know. Excited to find out.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by the intro, but I really like the, this is a little laugh.
Yeah, I feel like there's moments when the Russian accent's there, and then it goes Count Chocula a little bit, and then it goes...
Classic, like, evil...
Somewhere between Dracula and Michael Scott's Greek guy impression.
Okay. Let's dive in. From the moment the plan was conceived, it was obvious that it was a huge logistical nightmare. Russia didn't have any holdings in Africa or South Asia where they could refuel, so they would have to negotiate stops or ask allies to bring them fuel. Yeah, it seems like a dumb plan from the
Need
jump.
gas.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over again what the plan was in the intro, just in case someone has trouble listening to Russian?
The Russo-Japanese War would break out as a result of both trying to expand their empires. Japan struck first. They cornered and defeated the Russian Far Eastern Fleet in modern-day China. And then in response to this resounding defeat, Tsar, how do you say that?
Nicholas
authorized an unbelievable proposal from his government. 45 ships from the Russian Baltic Fleet would sail 18,000 miles around the world from its bases in Northern Europe to defeat the Japanese Navy and relieve the trapped Russian ships. Okay.
So they're taking a weird route is what the gist I'm getting.
Japan cornered a Russian fleet in modern-day China.
Right.
And Russia sent a fleet of 45 out to help out the cornered fleet in modern-day China. And
can we get a map of the route here? Because what you're saying seems like they tried to flank them or something.
I just Googled map of the world.
Because now we're in Africa?
That's how I read it, because it said 18,000 mile around the world. So it seems like they could have just went in straight at Japan, but they're trying to go the opposite way.
I feel like if Noah was here, he'd say, keep reading.
So, Noah.
I mean, I got a map of the world here. Russia's over here.
I mean, these guys are close, right?
Are they going above Russia all the way around Africa and then down?
Can't wait for this to be the next sentence.
Yeah, they said the Baltic, which is near like Lithuania. So they go above Russia.
Gorgeous, by the way.
All right. Well, anyway, it's it's a crazy plan because they can't even stop for gas. They have to ask South Asia or Africa for help. The Baltic Fleet also spent much of every year frozen in port with little use, so the ships were outdated and in poor shape. I'm putting that on a point for the plan. Like, yeah, we don't even use these ships anyway. Let's get them some action.
Okay.
They're going to go bad.
You're putting that in the plus column.
Yeah, they're going to go bad. We're not using them. The majority of the Russian naval sailors who manned the fleet were uneducated peasants that didn't come from the coastal areas of Russia, and they lacked any experience on the sea. The ineptitude of the fleet was immediately clear to the sailors as soon as they set sail. Many began referring to themselves as the sink by themselves squadron. I got this as Russia being like, we got too many boats and too many soldiers. Let's just send them away. It's like a shoe mission.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you've never heard the Russians be like, yeah, we've got too many soldiers.
It's a shoe 'em away.
Yeah.
Russia, everyone's a soldier. Born into it.
Exactly. I think that's a great counter argument to we've got too many soldiers, let's send them away.
Well, you got to do something. Otherwise, you're just paying people to sit around.
Mm.
And they're bad. Upon setting out, there was a wholly unfounded paranoid hysteria among the crew. It's pretty funny. Like, wait, what's our mission?
Yeah.
They chose us? Everyone looks around hoping there would be a leader at some point. There's just none. Everyone was jumpy that they would be ambushed at any moment by Japanese cruisers and torpedo boats. After several false alarms reporting Japanese ships in the fog as they passed through UK waters, they encountered a small group of fishing trawlers. Yeah, so this is a crazy route they took.
Yeah.
How did they go past the UK? So they're going
I think
above
they went north,
northern
right?
Europe. They're going west first and then down.
Yeah. Which just seems
Is it a sneak attack move?
really dumb.
Yeah, it does. That's why I'm saying I think Russia wanted this mission to fail. Because otherwise it doesn't make no sense. They went through the UK waters? All right. So they encountered a small group of fishing trawlers. Like 45 ships are coming. There's not going to be people in all the other countries they pass being like, hey, I think Russia's coming someone's way.
Anyone see those 45 old Russian ships and know what that was about?
The Russians panicked. Some charged about with cutlasses expecting to repel boarding pirates or Japanese. Some put on life jackets and laid down prone on the deck.
So did they think
They were scared of
Japan was chasing them? Why did they think there was going to be Japanese people in UK waters or the Baltic?
I think what happened was Russia was like, dude, we have so many dumb soldiers. Let's get them out of here.
It's a theory.
And they just sent them on the water.
It's a theory.
I mean, they saw some fishing trawlers.
Yeah.
And they're hitting deck like they're, oh, this is it. This is it. We're doomed.
I think you would do the same thing if you were a Russian sailor.
I mean, if I Google image fishing trawler, if it's just like a skiff boat, okay. It's a boat that has the two big nets like Forrest Gump for fishing.
Pirates, man.
I guess so. You have 45 ships.
Yeah.
45 ships. So they panicked. They're hitting the deck. The whole fleet opened fire on the supposed Japanese torpedo boats for nearly 20 minutes. They succeeded in sinking one British trawler and damaging 2 of their own ships. One ship fired 500 shells. None of the shells hit anything.
I have a new note. Do you think that they were just in British waters, but that didn't mean that they were near the land of Britain?
Yeah. I don't think they were dumb enough to be going on the coastal shoreline.
No, but I'm saying Britain could have waters above Russia or something like that. Like they were in an area where there were British ships, not that they were actually by Britain.
Do countries own water?
I think if you're heading
different
north,
areas?
you get to the UK depending where you left.
Definitely they went up. Like UK waters is just
Because
if you Google UK waters, there's a map, and it's just they were around the UK.
Yeah. If you start left enough in Russia, you could get to the UK pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. The UK waters is the dark blue.
Yeah, you just pop right over Norway and you're there.
So now they've started a war with Britain.
I have a map
Because they've killed innocent people.
of the route.
Is it what we think?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, really dumb route. All right, but they started all the way on eastern Russia.
So they did. Okay. See?
So the other option is to go north. Maybe it was frozen or whatever. But I don't know why they didn't cut through the strait. They went all the way down south of Africa. Weird. It makes a little more sense when you see where they started. The Russians panicked. They panicked. They killed the British fleet.
Yeah.
The incident caused Britain to nearly declare war on Russia. But in the end, they withheld and denied the Russian fleet use of the Suez Canal. This completely screwed up the Russian plans as they now had to chart a course all the way around Africa, refueling at several points using supply boats provided by the Germans and negotiating the use of African ports. At this point, the Tsar, is that what you say it? Tsar would have recognized the futility of the plan and pulled the fleet back to base, but he pushed them to go on. Yeah, I mean, also I think Britain was like, hey, let's go to war, and then they sent a scout to go see what the Russians were up to, and they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of blind and deaf soldiers.
God, you're in on this. We've got like what happened now.
Yeah.
They started off left. They were going to come through the canal. They didn't want to go through the freezing waters, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you stated.
Yeah.
So I think we've got normal people on this ship. I don't think you have to go in calling them blind dumbos.
I mean, I didn't say it.
You said blind.
Yeah. But I mean, what was the top line? It was like the majority of the Russian naval sailors were uneducated peasants that didn't come from coastal areas of Russia, and they lacked any experience on sea.
Blind, deaf, dumbos.
Yes. They're like, these guys aren't worth fighting. So Britain was like, but you can't use our canal either because we don't trust you at all.
We're not going to go to war for you idiots sinking a fishing ship, but you are going to have to take the long way. I respect that from Britain.
It's a great move by Britain. They slowly made their way around Africa, fighting off several more supposed torpedo boats along the way. These all end up being just more fishing trawlers. Yeah. So they're just, they're
playing scared.
They're inland Russians, never been at sea or in the water. Like, what the fuck is that?
It's the generic scene.
They needed one dude who had been on a boat before to be like, that's a fisherman.
It's the generic scene in the movie when someone's got a gun in the woods and they're nervous and they're just shooting at every noise.
Yeah. The next phase in the operation was to rendezvous with 10 German supply ships off Dakar in Western Africa before heading around the Horn of Africa. Having made contact, the fleet then proceeded to take on double loads of coal. These extra loads had to be stored on the decks, which caused coal dust to spread throughout the ships. The coal dust, combined with the humid equatorial atmosphere, resulted in the death of some of the seamen who suffered severe respiratory problems from breathing in the filthy black air, which congested their lungs.
So I think more so the story we have, the Russian Navy clearly seems to not be great. They're not known as a great boating town.
This portion, I think they had good portions of the Navy they didn't send on this mission.
I don't think so.
I'm guaranteeing the majority of the Russian Navy had seen the ocean before.
Seen some of it. I don't think the Russian Navy has ever been like the watch out Navy. Anyways, now we've got them in hot, like equator Africa.
Yeah.
These dudes are miserable.
Yeah, and they didn't know what they were doing either. Every boat they saw, they thought they were in trouble. They're just firing. They're just bad. I do think the Russian Navy was like really big and huge, and then they sold all their boats to Pepsi. Now Pepsi has the third biggest navy in the world.
Next little laughs for you guys, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to the story. I think they just literally, the Russians love Pepsi. They sold all their navy ships to Pepsi. Yeah. They're dying because they brought coal onto the boat. Having been quiet for some days, one of the ships sent a new wave of panic throughout the fleet when she sent the wrong signal during a storm off the coast of Angola. Instead of issuing the code, "We are all right," the message, "Do you see torpedo boats?" was signaled. So, common mistake.
Do you see torpedo
right
boats?
Next to each other on the keyboard, so, it's going to happen.
Set those presets, kids.
As the fleet neared Cape Town, the Germans were supposed to send out a last few supply ships. However, the German admiral, knowing the quality of the ships, decided to avoid a rendezvous with them. Morale against the fleet reached an all-time low as many of the sailors became convinced that they were sailing to certain destruction, as even their allies would not help them. Pretty funny. Germany was like, you guys are a mess.
Would love to help you guys, but you're probably going to shoot at us.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they're down in Cape Town now. They traveled, man.
They're going around the Horn of Africa. It's like a huge trip. It's crazy. Man, it sucks. To lift their spirits, the crews decided to collect exotic pets
Yep.
on shore visits. The old Joe Madden technique.
Yeah.
Including a crocodile and a poisonous snake that caused a panic on one battleship when it wrapped itself around the guns and then bit the commanding officer. The fleet turned into a floating zoo as a bizarre menagerie of birds and animals were left free to roam the decks.
Love it.
Events took a more severe downturn when the cooling plant on the Esperance, the fleet's refrigerated supply ship, broke down. A lot of rotting meat had to be jettisoned, which resulted in the fleet being followed by sharks. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You already get all the animals on board.
Yeah.
Who cares if you're being followed by sharks when you're in a big boat?
This is basically Noah's Ark. I mean, you don't trust the ship, I think, at this point. Like, you're shocked you made it to Cape Town.
Yeah.
I think you're right, the sharks is more for the story at this point. But, I think it is a nice, like, sprinkles on the ice cream.
Would you rather be in a boat with sharks following you or a boat without sharks following you?
If I'm 100% safe.
Yeah, if it's a yacht, I want
because you want to watch them. That's cool.
Yeah. 100% safe is tough.
These guys aren't.
No.
They're not 100% safe sleeping in their own bed at night in their house.
People are dying from breathing air.
Yeah.
So
they're very little brains.
Nobody said that.
For the 2 following weeks, the head admiral became severely ill and remained confined in his cabin. He ditched. He's not actually sick. Yeah. He's just like, I am not leading this anymore. His chief of staff suffered a brain hemorrhage and was partially paralyzed. No one was really in command of the fleet, and the crews spent increasing amounts of time ashore at various saloons, brothels, and gambling houses as live animals roamed the ships. During a funeral for a crew member who died of illness related to the rotting food, the crew decided to fire a gunnery salute to honor their fallen sailor. Of course, a live shell was mistakenly used when they fired the gun, hitting one of their own ships and forcing them to stay in port longer to make repairs.
That doesn't seem like an accident. They're like, how can we avoid getting to Japan?
Ooh, love that spin, Luke. They're starting to really enjoy the brothels and the bars. Yeah.
Okay, in the 19th century, the Russian Navy became the second largest and powerful naval force in the world behind the British. So this is definitely just the Sea Squad.
I mean, what year is that?
The 19th century.
19th century, jeez.
Isn't that when this takes place?
This is the start of the 20th century.
On the downturn.
Yeah, but they were up there. And they expanded in the 19th. So they're good. I mean, this is just not the A team. After leaving Madagascar, the officers began to realize how inept their sailors were when it came to actually conducting naval warfare. They ordered gunnery practice against a moving target to simulate a battle on the water. A floating target was constructed and roped to one of the ships, which would tow the target as the sailors tried to sink it. They succeeded in scoring only a single hit on the ship towing the target. They were forced to turn around and repair the ship again before continuing onward.
Again, I think Luke's theory is just being leaned into hard here. We're running practice now. Like, however many months in we are into this, we're just running practice, and oops, we accidentally shot another boat.
Well, they weren't sailors.
Isn't there like a Russian fleet that's trapped in Japan? There's no big rush, it seems like. Like, I feel like by the time they get there,
they knew it was over by this point. Once the canal got shut off, they shut off, and that's so obvious.
Yeah, they also weren't sailors, so they had no idea what they were doing.
If I told you the Russian army or the Russian Navy in the early 20th century got down to freaking Cape Town, I think you'd be impressed.
Yeah, I'm not making up that there weren't sailors. They were uneducated peasants that lacked
so were
any
a lot of
experience
soldiers at the time. So was almost any military at this time period.
Soldiers aren't peasants.
I mean,
that's
in
the
a way.
disconnect. I don't think this was a military unit that got sent to sea. I think they took peasants and said, go on this mission, which is how I read that.
Oh, I didn't read that like that at all.
Yeah.
If they were soldiers, they'd be called soldiers. They're saying they're peasants.
You just said every Russian's a soldier before.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a joke. You're not every Russian.
I don't think it is.
I think that this collection of soldiers weren't like well educated, went to military school, but they were still signed up.
They might have been in like an army
they didn't
or something.
just grab a gang and throw them on boats.
That's literally how I think this happened.
Makes sense why the disconnect, because I didn't think that.
And how I read that sign. They were uneducated peasants, didn't come from the coast, and lacked any experience on sea.
The full sentence, you have part of it highlighted. The majority of the Russian naval sailors who manned the fleet were uneducated peasants. So they were naval sailors.
They became sailors on this mission. That's how I read it.
Okay.
I mean, you would hope that the sailors would have experience at sea. There should be like a testing limit there. Lacked any experience on sea.
I think a lot of armies at this time started as uneducated peasants. There's civil war and things like that, you know?
Yeah, but my thing is that the Russian Navy has a group of people that are experienced at sea, that they're the second largest Navy in the world, and they did not choose any of those guys to go on this mission.
Okay.
This mission is a bunch of dum-dums. They sink their own boat. The fleet also needed to resupply with ammunition as it had fired most of its shells in the battle with the British trawlers. Who's going to give them ammo? Spirits lifted when a supply arrived. The ship was expected to be carrying ammunition for the fleet, but when the cargo was unloaded, it was found to be made up of 12,000 pairs of fur-lined boots and the matching number of winter coats, ideally suited to equatorial Africa, where the fleet was now stationed. What? Why did they send those to Africa? That makes no sense.
Tough to say.
After successfully avoiding mutiny, the fleet finally managed to get close to the Japanese Navy. The admiral decided to try and sneak between Japan and Korea under cover of darkness and made for Vladivostok, where the remains of the Russians' Far East fleet was trapped. All ships extinguished their lights to maintain stealth, that is, except for the hospital ship Oral, which kept them burning in accordance with the rules of war. In reality, the hospital ship shouldn't have even been close to the attacking fleet, but nonetheless, good on the Russians for following rules of war. Anyway, a Japanese ship of course spotted Oral and came close to investigate. Suspicion that it could be a support vessel to a larger fleet, it moved in for a closer inspection. Oral, for its part, misidentified the Japanese vessel as a Russian one and signaled for it to be cautious about the rest of the Russian fleet, telling the Japanese ship exactly where the other Russian ships were. The Battle of Tsushima quickly ensued. 4,000 Russians were killed, over 7,000 were captured, compared to less than 100 Japanese casualties. The Russians lost the war soon after in a negotiated peace. It was the first time a European power was defeated by an Eastern one, and that is the disaster of the Russian Baltic Fleet.
The RBF. What a journey. They made it. I think we all would have lost that bet.
Yeah. They made it and then immediately died.
Yeah.
It was like a long journey to death.
That's tough that they... I mean, like Noah said, good on following the rules of war, but also no.
Just bad all around.
I mean, leave the lights off, and they got a good chance to do this.
Yeah.
Are there no sneak attacks by the rules of war?
I'm assuming what it is you can't shoot the hospital.
So sneak attack, just don't bring your hospital with you.
You're not supposed to shoot the medic. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Why did they do any of that?
And that is a great question. Seems like the whole thing was a miss.
They didn't do anything right the entire way. Why did the coats and the boots show up to Africa? Like, how did that?
That was odd.
How did that boat at no point in its journey realize, why are we taking these winter supplies to Africa?
Yeah, that whole part was
like that
odd.
sounds like a prank.
Because they were ideally suited to equatorial Africa. Or was that maybe that was ironical? Like, why would the winter coats be suited for equatorial Africa?
I don't know. It makes no sense. But it is hilarious to think you're getting more ammo and you get winter coats and boots when you're in Africa.
Good on Japan.
It's a funny joke.
First W against Europe.
I think it's funnier if you think of that as like Japan switched out all the ammo. That'd be pretty good.
There's one guy that was just excited. Just loves traditional Russian clothes. It's like, yup.
Haven't been comfortable in weeks.
I know we wanted ammo, but these things are nice.
These are pretty nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's bad. I don't even know if it's a backfire because I don't think at any point they had a good plan.
They got close, man. They had a party and I mean, again, you could spin those a lot of ways. They got to where they were supposed to get, which is a journey that I think we all would have bet against.
Mm-hmm.
They had a party for a while where they were a floating zoo and just going to brothels and stuff.
That's the fun part of the movie right there.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you movify it?
It's got to be a comedy.
Would seemingly be a comedy.
Yeah. Sucks to be part of that fleet. Should have sent the good sailors. That's what I say. Congrats to Japan.
Good job.
We will see you next time. Little laughs.
Mm-hmm.